Okay, it's 12:05. Let's get our GAC meeting underway for the month. Hope everyone's doing well. I think we're missing a few people today. Some of it I think is related to all the fires going on. So I hope everyone's safe out there. So the first thing is, let's see if we can get the last month's minutes approved. Does anyone have any changes they needed to make that haven't already been done and updated?
I move to approve.
Okay, I'll second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, anyone opposed? All right, minutes approved. Thank you. So let's get right to the golf program update, because I know it'll be a little shorter, and then we can work on getting some votes in for our GAC application review and recommendations. So Vincent, go ahead.
Yeah, updates are very brief today. Maximo had minimal things to report on, but he did want to point out Commissioner Dan Ryan's getting sworn in today, and also that it's unclear. He was filling Commissioner Fish's position, but it doesn't necessarily mean he'll receive the portfolio that Commissioner Fish had. So. But just wanted, that was the main notable update bureau wise, and golf course wise, just a golf update, because I've been getting those numbers in more frequently. We have 936 members was the last count, which was just a few days ago. So still pretty impressive. They've been rolling in. We thought maybe it would slow as we're getting into September, but it seems like they're still coming in at a pretty decent clip. But that's been very promising.
What was it last month?
The last check, I have to look at the date that I asked, but I believe it was last meeting. We were at 850.
Wow.
And really, keep in mind we launched in March, and so it's just been a really steady flow of folks, coming in, getting, probably mostly word of mouth. Obviously that database is getting developed. So some of those customers may have already been in our other databases, but ultimately, that database is growing and the awareness about the program is growing. Condition wise, so Jesse, similar to, folks being out, Jesse and Kathy are both unavailable today. Just busy with a couple things. One, we have begun aeration on one of our golf courses, the Greenback, but also with the winds yesterday. So obviously there's the concern about the fires in the whole statewide, but the winds dropped a lot of debris on the golf course. And so it looked, when I went by Rose City today, it looked like late fall to me. So that'll take a little while to clean up the mess from the high winds yesterday. So they're not going to be here today. And then I just thought, just for kind of a data point, or just one point of reference, if Randy would just give a little bit of an update comparing August from year prior to this August. And I say that just to give one point of reference for you all. Todd Melton is also out, so we don't have a financial update either. So there's a lot of people being out today. But I thought Randy it would be helpful to just give a little comparison from for August this year and then year prior.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if did we review July financials last month, or did we just wrap up?
So yeah, October will be a big catch up month for the committee. So yes, we did not.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess just a little bit of a summary for both July and August. It was kind of the same story in terms of the comparison to prior year. Rounds were up about 32% in both months compared to prior year. So considerable rounds increases, considerable green fee revenue increases, which is probably not all that surprising given how the demand has gone, this summer. Year to date, what that means for green fees is we've got about a a little over a $200,000 lead over last year for the first 2 months of the fiscal year, which is sort of like, unprecedented. We haven't seen that kind of a start to the fiscal year ever. So the big win is green fees, obviously, in rounds played. Other revenue segments at Heron Lakes anyway. So cart revenues are pretty flat. We have single rider carts a lot of the time. So it's kind of when you're sending out a golf cart that's only generating half the normal revenue, you're not quite seeing the the ridership levels and total cart revenues is what we normally see. But nonetheless, it's about flat to last year. Other revenue categories, merchandise and other things that are really more related to folks coming inside the clubhouses to shop, those are down. But food and beverage, we had a pretty good uptick in August. Actually, we beat July's food and beverage revenues at Heron Lakes by about another $10,000. So trending right in the right direction. And although food and beverage, like a lot of other things, retail, et cetera, is a little tricky. Not having a lot of the dine-in service and things of that nature. So relying, and also golf outings and all the catering involved in those are obviously not happening. So but nonetheless, F&B, I'm actually pretty pleased with where Heron Lakes is from a food and beverage standpoint. It could be a lot worse. Back in the earlier part of COVID when we weren't able to sell beer or alcohol, things looked a lot worse from a food and beverage perspective. But we've made a lot of ground back over the last couple of months, and those total revenues, I guess, from a food and beverage perspective, we're about 20% off of last year's numbers. So not, I wouldn't consider that bad at all, considering the circumstances. So but yeah, I'd say in a nutshell, with green fee revenues and additionally driving range revenues, all these sort of high margin revenue categories, it's certainly, at least at Heron Lakes, it's kind of outweighing the other losses in other areas like merchandise and F&B. So it's been quite a lot the last couple months, and we've started September pretty well with the Labor Day weekend. Like Vincent said, we're aerifying greens on the greenback today, or finishing today. And so we'll see a little bit of a drop in play, a little bit of drop in play as well as the rate over the next week or so, while that heals up. And then, look to, I guess we're aerating the Great Blue at the end of the month. So that really won't be impactful for September. So that's kind of Heron in a nutshell. I know we're not looking at financials or anything necessarily, but if anybody has any questions, I'm certainly happy to, provide any insights that I haven't mentioned.
I had just a question on the pro shops off the, are you selling much? What is kind of selling through the pro shops in terms of
golf balls
or golf balls? Golf balls still moving?
Golf balls. Oh yeah, that's the thing. Golf balls are out off the charts. We can't even keep them. The shelves full of balls. It's one of those. All the vendors are. Everybody's backlogged with those types of purchases.
Okay.
Not as much apparel. The things that aren't selling as well as they did last year, are things like apparel and footwear and the kind of things you really have to get into the shop and, shop for and pick what you want. Having said that, we have sold a lot of, pairs of shoes out the door. Golfers will show up all the time needing a pair of shoes, and it's kind of hey, what size are you? Bring them to the door and they'll buy them. So we actually had we've had a lot of success over the last couple of years with a relationship with Adidas, and we've got a lot of footwear and some apparel in stock, and we had a tent sale, so we took a lot of stuff outside one weekend in August and produced I think we produced almost 30% of our total merchandise number in that one weekend by doing that sale. So that was a pretty good one. I think we're going to try to maybe again this month, depending on how the weather might hold out and stuff. But that was a good successful sale.
Okay.
But
Great.
yeah, golf balls and tees, and kind of those types of items are the ones they're selling a lot.
Thank you.
Randy, is it
Yeah.
true that the push carts are hard to find anymore?
So the one specific model or brand rather that's been very popular over the last several years is the ClickGear brand. And there's a local vendor that is actually the the rep for those, and they've become they were very, very hard to come by over the last few months. I think they're starting to catch up a little bit on their inventory and on their demand. So we've I know a lot of shops around town have really just been getting 2 or 3 carts, and they're already sold before they even come in the door.
Right,
And we've been
right,
taking
right.
special orders. And so that's been one of those items that's been pretty hot.
Yeah. I talked to somebody who kind of went back through Sun Mountain, and Sun Mountain is exactly the same thing. That just things are months out, 90 days. Just,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting with this COVID situation, what is plexiglass and push carts and things like that are you never would have thought it would be hard to find someday. But
Well, so are bicycles. So
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And then one more update that came to mind for me is at Eastmoreland. Rob connected with the Jacobsons, and they are going to have their one club tournament. And that we say tournament, to be more accurate, it's a fundraiser. And to be even more accurate, it's going to be in the course of daily play. So it's tee times and then folks leave, just like we've been doing all year long. But it is an opportunity for them to fundraise for Youth on Course. And obviously it's always been a great event. They are going to, the Jacobsons, they'll have a Zoom, post-round event to be able to raise a few more dollars. And obviously I assume that Peter Jacobson will do his thing and entertain everyone that's a part of that. But we're happy to have that opportunity for youth golf. I don't have their figures off the top of my head, but Youth on Course, those numbers are through the roof, like all the other golf numbers. And so they've been able to have, a fundraiser, which fundraisers in general at golf courses have really been decimated this year. As great as the daily play has been, those types of events have not been really possible. And so this will still be very unique, not your typical format, but they'll, come up and play with one club and get out of there and then try to raise some money for the junior golfers.
Peter is actually going to be on site that day also, and he'll be walking with every group that plays in the tournament.
Wonderful.
Great.
So that's it. That's all I got, Chase. I mean, if there's any other questions, that's, please ask. But other than that, back to you.
Okay. Thanks, Vincent. So it sounds like things are going pretty well, all things considered. It's good to hear about the news at Heron Lakes. One of the things maybe we'll think about for next year is moving the meeting time out another week, maybe the third week. And I think that'll help Todd get us the financial data due to the schedule of when they close the month. Okay, so if that's our update, let's go on to our business for the day. The first thing we got to take care of is we want to get our recommendation in to whoever, I guess it's Mayor Wheeler is our person for now. We want to get our recommendation in for filling positions because we're losing Vinny and we're losing Bill. So Vincent, Travis, Carrie, and myself were able to meet for an hour and a half a couple weeks ago and go over the applications for everyone who put in to be on our GAC. We've put them out to everybody through email. We just want to try to, if we're going to talk about people, if we have any more questions, let's use as the least identifying information we can about our individuals, because this will just be up online for these meetings. But our recommendation, let me see here. We had, I think our numbers were 1 and 2. We made it easy. Those were the recommendations. Did everyone have a chance to take a look at the application sheet and the recommendation summary?
Yes.
Anyone?
Yes.
What do we think?
Yes. Well, I was actually impressed by the number and quality of the applicants. So I'm hoping that those that we do not choose on this round, we keep their names and consider them, put them in the pool for after we have revised our bylaws and expanded so that we could draw from that. So I concur with the recommendations of the subcommittee who reviewed those.
I do as well.
Okay. So before we put to a vote and get this going, I did want to say that, Vincent was able to talk to, I can't remember who it was in either council or some other department. You can fill us in on exactly who it was, Vincent. But we were talking about looking at bylaws. They do have some recommended, like a bylaws template that they want the committees to use. I'm still going through those, but if anyone wants to volunteer to go through some of those things with me, I don't think there'll be any problem with even before the end of the year getting approval for a higher amount of GAC members. And I think we want to get that done so we can go back to some of these applicants and see if we can get them in starting in this next term. But for now, we will get our 2 applicants approved so we can at least get a letter from our commissioner, from Mayor Wheeler. So I move that we approve the applicants as recommended by the subcommittee.
I second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
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 All right, anyone opposed? All right, we're approved. Vincent will coordinate with getting those letters out.
Well, yeah, and I just want to say thank you to the subcommittee for their time and going through those applications, and just overall the committee. You all have been great ambassadors for our city golf program. A great advisory committee, and it's exciting to have a couple new applicants that I think will serve this committee, obviously in a different way, but as well as Bill and Vinny has. So I'm just really excited that it feels like this committee has some momentum. I'm really excited about what the body that you are, and look forward to next year when we have these 2 new members a part of the committee.
Now, Vince, remind me, these appointees, it's a 2-year term, correct?
3.
Oh, 3. Okay.
Yeah, for now we're 3, and we're saying you can only do 2 consecutive terms. But when we review and we go through to add people to the, add positions to the GAC, we're gonna have to figure out exactly how we want to stack terms. What was Vincent? What was the department that gave us those bylaw templates? Who was that?
Yeah, that was Community and Civic Life, and they were working to get them more uniform throughout the city. Obviously, there's a lot of committees that serve the city, and so making it to where they're more consistent through and through, which is a big challenge because there's a lot of different needs out there. But ultimately, that's one of their big efforts was to do that. And so with an updated bylaws here, that obviously the GAC would be able to be a part of that. Updating.
Okay, so we took care of our recommendations, so that takes care of that subcommittee. So I think for this next month, the subcommittee will have is figuring out what to do with new bylaws. When I send them around, you'll see the template is, I'm not going to say exhaustive, but it's big. There's a lot of things on there, and so it's going to be some work figuring out how we adapt our own rules and how we've been functioning to fit in with this new template, especially if we're going to have to shuffle around positions and terms and everything, because we don't want, obviously, half the GAC leaving after 1 year based on terms, in any year in the future. So we'll have to put some thought into how we stack the terms and how we bring people in. But let's get that done this month. So I'll reach out, and whoever has time to help me work through that, be much appreciated. Okay, let's move on. The other project we're trying to get finished up right now is this annual report to the commissioners. So again, last year was it was nice to get that done. I think it turned out fairly well, but we want to build on that and really make this one a bit more exhaustive. So, future board iterations have something to go back to. We can use this as, the history of the program, and we can start putting what we want to put as the public into the public record, because there's so much the program is doing that, no one knows about. The environmental report, last month I thought was fantastic. And as good as it was, it still only, scratched the surface on some of the things that our golf courses provide to the city and the citizens of Portland. So I hope everyone who at least wanted to look at it has been able to get into that document. Is anyone still having problems getting in?
I don't, but I've been negligent in terms of volunteering to do a couple of those sections. So I will do that again, and promise to take on a couple of
I appreciate
those
it.
items. Okay.
I appreciate it. It's actually, a few of us have been filling it out, and it's looking really good already. So
Well, if you can send me the most updated one, then I will just see what I can do.
okay,
Correct.
I'll get a link out of the PDF of where it's at today, and I'll also send the live link around to everyone, because it is a
Great.
living document, and
Great,
you can put
great.
stuff in. But we're already, 6 pages in, and it's just
Right.
it's just words content. We haven't,
Right,
Vincent found some good pictures, but I
Right.
think to highlight the environmental piece, we've got a lot more of that going in, and a lot more of the programs that the golf program and the Parks and Recreation program through us has been able to support a lot of the different community events.
Right.
So it's looking great.
Right. What I like to, drawing from my experience, what I would like to hopefully contribute is, the benefit to the general public, to people physically, mentally, and that part of it, and as well as a little bit on the history. If there are pieces missing there, I will take a look at it and see what I can add. Okay.
Okay, that sounds great.
And I would just jump in, and there's so much to cover. Like you said, as part of it is just going, what are the most important things for the public or any reader of the document to see to get a good grasp of the golf program. I do think that, some reference to COVID-19 and just the impact that open space really,
Right.
just for a brief, obviously there's a lot of people that are still in danger with the fires that are going on now, but for the Portland area, or at least, in the Northeast Portland area, what was that, Monday? Now I'm losing track of days, but I think it was Sunday or Monday when all the smoke, right, came in, and the air quality really, really dropped, and being inside and how different that is. There's one thing where, going to large events, and there's a lot of things that we don't really have at our disposal that we used to, or at least just a year ago. But then being stuck inside where it's not even safe to go to open space, it starts to really change, as far as just even, mental wellness for the public. And so I think just pointing to what a contributor golf courses were to that, providing that open space this year specifically too. Yeah,
my thoughts are, we've got if we can get content pretty much finished up this coming month, then that leaves us with essentially another 2.5 months to work on developing the presentation and doing some analysis with it, because we do want to get, right up front, the GAC's recommendations to the program spelled out, including, financial reserves and things of that nature. So yeah, let's work on that and see if we can kind of finalize the content we want to have in there. Maybe not all the details, but everything else. And then the plan is, talking with Julia and Carrie, once we get this thing put together, get the source documents associated with it and build the hyperlinks, we'll be able to submit something in the record with the main report and then all the attachments. So that'll all live in the auditor's office for people who want to go through and actually see where we're pulling our data. So it's going to be a well done report. But I think it's going to be really important for us to get the word out on all the great things that we're doing with public golf here and why it's so important, especially now with, we're essentially Broadmoor. We're going to lose another course in the area. So we want to have it. It's going to be a pretty big document when it actually hits the public record in the auditor's report. So if we can, the sooner we can get the content done, the sooner we can make it look good and get it organized.
And I just wanted to say one more thing regarding the report. It's just the draft, that I've seen, at least just the layout of it. I think it looks really good. Obviously, trying to get information that in the in all the areas that you all are discussing, it's a challenge because obviously it's a lot to get across. But to me, when I see it, it looks very digestible. It looks inviting, engaging. And so I think that's a really big facet of trying to get, a number of messages across. But I think it looks great where it's at now. So I'm really excited about what you all have done so far.
All right.
Well, I think the main thing that the report needs to convey in whatever form we choose is the cost benefit of having such facilities in City of Portland. And I think we can very easily demonstrate the benefits of this. And the cost is really not covered by taxpayers, but by players, which is very unique. Other than the, I believe, other than the race, what is his name? I forget now. The racing facility, car racing facility. This is the only recreational opportunity people have, and taxpayers don't bear the cost. So we need to be very clear about that.
Agreed. Okay, making a note to get that out to everyone. Next is, I think we had on there a little something about what's going on with, PR. Vince, you've been working with a couple of our people on that subcommittee.
We did, and then is Madison still on?
Yeah, I'm on.
Okay. And I didn't know if you had an update with, you working with Carrie and also Eric.
Yeah, I can update on this. I don't know if Carrie is on the call. I didn't think I saw him. But we were able to connect before last month's meeting and just kind of talk through potential of a plan and creating some type of calendar to develop and start using as we enter 2021. We thought this is a perfect time to work on creating it so it's ready to go when we enter the new year. So we're still working on that. And then some things that we were talking about doing this year, which could be done by any GAC member really, and then just communicating with us, was just getting out to the golf courses and playing and conversing and meeting the people who play at these golf courses and just hearing their experiences and using maybe some of that to then create stories from it or content or something to then publish or include in, whether it's an e-letter or something we mail out or on social media, but just kind of basing it off of our typical consumer that was kind of where we had started with the discussion. So we're still creating that calendar, and hopefully in one of the coming meetings, that's something we can present and go through.
And also obviously there's a lot of question marks as far as what'll happen next year. The assumption, or at least the hope, is that events, outreach, all of that is much easier because the public health crisis has been reduced to where we can get kind of get back into the normal course of our lives. And obviously that calendar would be more robust in some form or fashion.
It will need to be very flexible, to say the least.
All right. That sounds like that. The PR, people are doing a lot, and they've got a lot of work to build that content. So I'm glad that's going. That's going to be really helpful in doing marketing that we just, as Portland Golf Program by itself, just hasn't done in the past. And so that's going to help support not just our program, but also support our partners who work with us on everything. So excellent work. Thanks everyone on that. All right. So back to the agenda. Was there any new business that we kind of already talked about what we're having to do to respond to the fire issue? But is there anything else? No. Okay. Well, it's always open to public comment if anyone has anything they want to add. If not, I guess that's it. It's a quick one today without our financials, but I'm looking forward to those next month. I know it's been a fantastic summer for the financial piece of the program anyway.
Yep.
So I have one question. Would we be getting this boilerplate bylaw from you to take a look?
Yeah,
And
I'm going to
then-
send it around.
Okay.
I'm going to send it around. And Vince and I have kind of already marked up some of the things that we already have in ours, in the
Okay.
GAC's current bylaws, and some of the things that we have to add. But it looks
Okay.
like, although it's a template, it's expected that we add all this in. And there are a few
Yes.
things that I guess we have to add in, conflict of interest rules and disclosures and that kind of stuff. So once I get it cleaned up a little bit, I'm going to send it around to everyone, and then we can start working through that. And I think the biggest thing will be figuring out how to stagger the terms of the different members as the GAC grows and shrinks over the years.
Right. Okay. Okay.
It did seem like from the committee's perspective, that was one of the catalysts for this action. And so, figuring that out, obviously, there's other things that can be considered. But I would say just with Chase is to send everyone should have a copy of it, but just in the same message to send the current bylaws.
Right.
So at the very least, they could compare. But, as we kind of talk through it, is basically, you look to insert all the boilerplate and the template items that, I'm saying this incorrectly. The current bylaws, making sure that everything that's not in the template is in there, right? So basically, it would be the template plus the current bylaws for the GAC. So that's kind of was a starting point, and obviously it can go from there. But trying to get it to where it was as best could be consolidated into one document that you could see what's in there for the GAC and what's template.
So my timeline on this is to vote on it at the very latest in the November meeting, but next month would be fantastic because I'd like to get the recommendation for the additional GAC members coming up in the future. I'd like to get those done as quick as we can. So I'll send it out. If we can get things done over email and get a vote on this for next meeting, that'd be fantastic.
Okay.
Really quick, isn't November, that meeting falls on a holiday, I believe. And so we probably should look at
So December.
the week before, maybe the week after, or what have you.
Yeah, we'll have to check on that. That's a really good point. I remember we talked about that, Danielle, earlier this year. We may have changed the date already, but we'll have to verify that.
Yeah,
One,
that was last year.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then two, typically we've had employee appreciation in October. Given
That's right.
COVID, that will likely be a different scenario this year. So I've talked to Jesse and Kathy, and I'll touch base with Chase. But typically it's there around when our normal GAC meeting is, but it just has a little different format. But given COVID, I'm not sure exactly what that looked like. So I'll touch base with Chase and get a message to the GAC on what to expect for next month's meeting and the format.
Well, my calendar shows that we moved the November meeting to 10th on Tuesday.
Okay, so it is on the 10th.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. So I'll send out a Zoom link for that as well.
Okay. Well, hopefully we can hustle this month and we can even vote on these bylaw changes next month. All right. Anything else? 12:41. Thank you, everyone. That'll close it up for today.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.